Hello, dear friends. I would like to speak with you in English. First of all, this is an English version, and there is a Russian one. It's enclosed in the chat. So, Putin is a Gulliver among Lilliputians in Russia, and how it will go on, we'll see right now. So, let's start.
Gulliver-Putin with Lilliputians and Giants until March 18th. Putin is still Gulliver in the Land of Lilliputians. And then he will move to the Land of Giants for a new term. He wants to do it himself. But what's in store for him? Jonathan Swift wrote in 1727 about Captain Gulliver. But the censorship forced them to rewrite, as if for children, those images of Lilliputians with their manner of having sex in front and behind. They were depicted as pointy and blunt, with eggs breaking at breakfast. He rewrote Swift and the lustful giantesses with their little Gulliver as joy in underpants. So, the secret agent of Catherine II, Fyodor Vasilyevich Kartsevin, 1745-1812, polyglot, sent her that first version of Gulliver. His descendant Fyodor Kartsevin bought it from the family of Henry Ford, a friend, executor and keeper of the archive of the famous English satirist. Only in the 2000s, the first original story about Gulliver's travels appeared in Russian. Now it is also useful for predicting the journey of Putin Gulliver from the land of Lilliputians to the land of giants, if he is re-elected by March 18th, and if he himself, and not a double according to Valery Solovey, holds the SCOBRICS summit in order to find himself in the land of giants, where giantesses are waiting for him. In short, what can Putin's communication be like in the circle of political Lilliputians and strategic giants, but with the nuances of our digital existence? Yes, it seems that the Lilliputians from the Anti-Corruption Foundation have entangled him in social networks, and Putin neglected them, simply burying Navalny without the DNA of his body. However, in addition to digital Lilliputians for hire, there are their masters, digital giants. These are petrocrats with petrodollars. And there are digitocrats with fraud for trillions of rubles when converting them into cryptocurrency. On February 29th, in a speech to the Federal Assembly, Putin himself unexpectedly sided with the giant digitocrats. And the former giants, the petrocrats Mueller and Sechin, who had been abandoned by him, sat with gloomy faces. Moreover, Putin himself, like a Lilliputian, was shoved into their underpants exchanges by the giants digital abbreviates of the United States and China. There they have ITAI shares on the cheap and everything in crypto. Today, March 15th, Powell and Company instantly lost $156 billion. On the digital stock exchange, the graph of the fall is like a hockey stick. Analysts in the Kremlin have long noted the rise of Bitcoin from $65,000 up to $100,000 by the end of 2024. This is a reaction to Putin's words to the Federal Assembly to strengthen the technological sovereignty of the Russian Federation and rebels by 2030. Putin, the Lilliputian, will clearly amuse with his scientific, technical and cyber calculations in rebels of the giantess numeric short. They are already tickled in their underpants exchanges at the dollar-euro at 100 rubles, and they have Bitcoin rushing to $100,000. In the Russian Federation, the giants of the petrocracy become Lilliputians or the dead. In Lukoil alone, 50 top managers were killed or hanged while here. Well, Putin calls on February 29th for SMEs to voluntarily go to technology parks in a good way resemble the schools of re-education of the Cultural Revolution of the PRC. Investors are fleeing from the PRC itself for the first time in half a century. And Putin gives them the green light in the form of benefits in his ITAI industry. Those government bonds for 3 years from private investment funds will clearly shove Putin Lilliputian into the financial underpants of the Chinese giantess for her pleasure. However, in the Russian Federation itself, Putin sees himself as a Gulliver among Lilliputians in the regions of the Russian Federation. Through federal projects, he promises barracks, bureaucrats, in short and organized crime groups in power, in rebels, carrots in front of their donkey faces. And in case of disobedience, he threatens that the Lilliputians will come and restore order. Feeling like Gulliver in the land of Lilliputians, Putin promises to write off two-thirds of the debts of the RF regions, like the countries of Africa. And allegedly, he will multiply the grants for neural networks tenfold in order to better see the sex games of Lilliputians BURIKS in the regions. Swift's Gulliver also spied them through his marine binoculars. Moreover, our Lilliputians will receive loans for 15 years at 3%, and large families and beneficiaries will receive mortgages at 6%, yes, and only beyond the Urals. From Putin's Lilliputian rebel box, veterans of the NWO's mentors of children and youth will add to their salaries as much as $50 and $100, but in rebels, with such a law and order, Putin expects a profit from tourism in the Russian Federation under 140 million people a year. With the growth of the network of airports and the aircraft fleet, at the end tourist, due to electronic vouchers, postscripts, domestic tourism will clearly increase, while the departure will clearly be less. But the main suppliers of tourists in 2024 will be the SCOBRICS countries, as well as mercenaries for the SMO from other countries of the global south. With a paragraph in a speech on February 29 about 140 million tourists and mercenaries a year, Putin killed the plans for the modernization of the Russian Federation from Kasparov, Khodorkovsky and the FBK under Navalny himself. If he was allegedly buried without DNA on March 1st, what would he be able to resurrect? There was a constant video broadcast from that cemetery. The Kremlin's Ives Reuben did not object. Let them stand in line and get afraid. And flowers in the cemetery and outside it are clearly permitted, so to carry the water of radicalism. But Putin himself is eager to become a giant by relying on the digitalocracy with the Time of Heroes training program. It copies the social elevator in the CPSU through the higher party schools and the schools of Marxism-Leninism, with the addition of frontline fighters after the SMO in Ukraine, and also in the suppressing remains of the obstinate petrocracy in Central Asia. Gulliver-Putin expects to form his digitocracy quickly and from the offended, but still loyal to him, Lilliputian petrocracy. First, he learns how to do it from the Saudis and Persians. And, secondly, there is the experience of transferring Nazarbayev's petrodollars to Takeyev's crypto since January 2022. In the run-up to the March 15-17 elections, Putin's team has experience in digitally controlling and intimidating the masses at funerals and wakes of Navalny's body without DNA. Those funerals virtually drove everyone to the digital gulag until March 18th. Politician Maxim Katz believes that those tricks of the authorities only strengthen a certain determination of the masses here and the relocators there abroad. They are not afraid of repression after the Marino cemetery funerals with computer facial recognition. The Kremlin clearly sees the benefits of using ITAI to monitor the flower sieve with which the disgruntled masses carry protests. And before that, the flower protest did not give anything to the Nemtsov Bridge, and therefore it was allowed both in the Marino area and outside it. Such a feint allowed the Kremlin to conduct a census of the manpower of the police for its transfer to the needs of the SMO and other theaters of military operations to outside Central Asia. Money, and more money is needed for any war. It was on February 29th that the plan for the victory of Captain Gulliver by 2030 in the country of Lilliputians was announced, with their rebel still 100 per $1. And digitally controlled. It is led by barracks and lumpens bought for rebels to return from the SMO. Captain Gulliver, with those transmission belts on the rebels, will allow Lilliputian barracks through their neural networks to grab what the Kremlin previously grabbed and hid offshore. Navalny's FBK has seen it all before. He won't see it anymore. Navalny's widow replaced FBK with herself under the protection of Joe Biden himself, while someone gave Leonid Volkov a hammer on the hands. Like, don't take money from the fund and don't lie about Julia. So, the Putin Gulliver game with Lilliputians BURIKS was exposed under Navalny by the Anti-Corruption Foundation, threatening vertical but not horizontal corruption in the Russian Federation. At the funeral and wake of Navalny's body without DNA, the Kremlin allowed Navalny's supporters to continue carrying the water of radicalism with a flour sieve until their midday standing on March 17th. Although today, March 15th, the authorities have already recognized as extremism under Article 141 of the Criminal Code of the Russian Federation disagreement with Putinism as opposition to the expression of vote for Putin. And a brief conclusion. Video cameras in Marino and live broadcasts of funerals and wakes from the Russian Federation recorded the Kremlin's benefits from non-violence. But over whom? Basically, over women of the age of Navalny's mother and mother-in-law. That part of the electorate has not experienced and will not experience the horrors of young people in the face of the brutality of the police and the National Guard. Those are afraid to be driven to the front and out of Ukraine. Both the funeral and the wake of Navalny's body without DNA show that the wolves are fed and the sheep are safe if they are under control. On March 15, 18, Putin Gulliver encourages any sex games of Lilliputian barracks, but he himself is waiting for games with giants, where he himself will be a Lilliputian. More on that, see later. Vladimir Lukov.
Well, guys, that's all I wanted to say to you tonight, and I'm waiting for your requests and additions to this topic. Bye bye.